Oh, hey YouTube. Huh, you just caught me on the tail end of cranking my hog. The bike, weirdo. Get your minds out of the freaking gutter. You can obviously tell by my Biker Boys Hollywood issued gloves I was talking about my bike. Anywho, today we got a video. Hold on, I'm getting my chair. When you have a body like this, standing up for no reason just doesn't make sense. So, let's get to it. As you saw from the B-roll, we got a 69 Nova. And it is kind of ugly. I've made a whole video about this car already. Unfortunately, in the last part of the video, the plan was to be able to get it to do a burnout. We got it real close. We got it running and driving, and we got the motor painted up. It was a good video. Unfortunately, right at the last 9% of that video, I went over to Underbuilt Garage and was hanging out with Dylan, and we came to the conclusion that I don't really know a whole lot about small block Chevys, and he doesn't really know a whole lot about LS's. But we both know about the opposite. So we traded. I took the small block and the Turbo 350 out of this. He took the LS and the 4L80 out of his. And we swapped them out. And now this thing doesn't have a motor and there's no way to end the old video. So we're going to start a new one and hopefully get it out by Sunday-ish. What we're going to do today is try to get a cheap, presentable paint job. Now, I want to start with cheap, presentable paint jobs aren't good paint jobs. I am not capable of painting a car good, but I am a damn good buffer. So, we can make an illusion here. The guys that do this for a living, I have a bunch of friends that do this for a living. They have mastered their craft. And paint and body is not cheap. It is not cheap stuff, and the labor isn't cheap, and, you know, just the whole thing. I can't afford to get a good paint job on this car, but I do want one. So don't take it out of context and try to think that I'm trying to do something that I'm not here. We're not going to achieve that, but what we're looking for is something that is easier on the eyes than this. So, as you can see, this car has a gray hood. It's pretty rough. It looks like it should be in a Gold Bond commercial. We got a black door with a bunch of rust. It's pretty rough. We got on the trunk lid, there's Scooby-Doo. Someone put a mural of Scooby-Doo on the trunk lid. It's not for me. Whatever. So what we're going to do is pull all the trim off, pull all the emblems off, get the grill, all that crap off. And we'll start sanding on this thing a little bit, and I'm not going to get into filling a bunch of different holes or fixing dents that are, you know, this thing has a couple dings. I'll probably, you know, fix those, but we're not looking for perfection here, and we're not going to get perfection. So be aware. But if you're interested in seeing how to spend a couple $100 and make something like this turd look better, you're at the right spot. And if in the end it doesn't look better and this is all bad, just I'll probably make a different intro. Which I really hope this goes how I'm hoping it goes. Come on. All right. So we're to the point where all the trim's off. Got the bumpers off. Everything around the windshields and the drip molding and all that crap. I'm glad we did this too. If you look here, the old drip rail was getting pretty rusty. That thing was about 2 days away from looking like the frame on that wagon out there. So we're there. We're to the point now where we're going to start sanding her down. I didn't want to bring you guys along for the taking the trim off just because it's not fun. Windshield wipers not coming off. Those things I do believe are welded by God himself. So we're going to have to do some pretty magical tape work there. All this right here, let me just start off with whoever painted this car last. They loved green and they loved black and they hated chrome. That's great, but unfortunately I like chrome and polished trims and chrome bumpers and all that cool stuff that cars used to come with before everything was powered by electricity and ran by a robot in Sacramento or wherever. So I'm going to use some of the aircraft paint stripper, and hopefully it'll do most of the dirty job there, and we'll get to see what's underneath all that mess. Hopefully they just painted it because they were crazy human beings and not because it was all trash and couldn't be fixed and paint made it look better, because that would suck. But I guess the next thing you'll see is a time lapse of me sanding, and sanding some more. We're not going to really worry about fixing this body up too great. This car's had quarters hung on it. They didn't do the best job. Gaps aren't right in the doors, yada yada yada. So we're just going to roll with it. I probably will fill a couple little things here and there. Like we got a ding right here on the quarter that could really use to be popped out and probably gone over. But outside of that, we're not going to get crazy here. We're not looking for perfection. We are looking for something that looks cooler than what it does now. And let me tell you, that's not going to be too hard. So, cheapest way that I have found to get this done, hold on, I'm clumsy, is you go on Amazon, grab you the variety packs of DA paper. I think these were like 13 bucks. You get everything from 80 grit all the way to 600, I believe. And I believe it's a variety pack of like 50 or 60 count, you know. So then you go to Harbor Freight, spend 20 bucks, get you a DA. And that's what we're going to do. So we'll take the 320. This is how I do it. Remember this. I know you body guys are chomping at the bits right now. Oh, fat guy doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I know I don't know what I'm doing. Chill out. Sit down. Eat popcorn. Watch me do this wrong. Thank you. See paint chips and stuff? You're going to get a little bit heavier right there. Try to push them out. Make them feel better again. You don't want that ridge. If you paint over top of that, it's going to look like hell. If it does, it's okay. We're not looking for perfection. But if you can fix it, fix it. So, yeah. Back to the time lapse of me 320 and everything and figuring out what I got to do 60 grit with. Alright guys, I don't know if you can even hear me or not, but it's dinner time. I ain't missing dinner. I don't care. What I have figured out right before dinner, this hood is trash. Looks like it's gotten down into the gel coat and stuff. It was definitely green at one point in time. Something happened. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So we will have to do a little bit of mud on the hood. I'm not going to get too in depth with it. I suck at body work. It's probably going to look worse than it would if I just sprayed it. You know. So we'll give it our best shot. See what we come up with. I don't know. Another key thing that I figured out while we were doing this is, if you're fatty like me, when you're doing body work, your belly rubs up against the surfaces. So you spray a little weak, like grease and wax remover on your belly after you sand and you're doing the one above it. This will clean it for you and get it ready for paint. People say being fat is not a good thing. Whatever, dude. So, it is 6 in the morning on Sunday. I'm a day late posting a video, and we are about 4.473% into this paint job. We're gonna work all day. Hopefully we'll get color on this at 2 in the morning tonight. But we're at the point right now where we're spraying Bondo. Bondo is great. Covers up fiberglass stuff, and they used it on this to cover up rust. We're not fixing that. Nope. You got a couple different paint guys, DIY paint guys at your house, and I'll tell you which one I am. I just want it to be a color that looks a little bit presentable. And I'm also not fixing the rust that they covered in 1997 when they painted this. So, we're gonna keep going. You can drive yourself crazy with a paint job. You will find every single flaw in a car when you're doing it. This one's had new quarters hung on it. The doors are on kind of wrong. This fender isn't on right. This piece is, nothing's right. Nothing's right. The roof's on right. The roof, that's probably because Chevrolet put the roof on. That's about the only thing that hasn't been jacked up. So, whatever. But this is how we're gonna do this. There's a right way to do Bondo, and then there's the way that I'm gonna do Bondo. So don't take this as the wrong thing. We're not doing, this isn't the book. This is just how I'm accomplishing this. The fiberglass, there's spots where this hood's total. It's total. I'm fitting to have a nervous breakdown about all this. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna drink a coffee and we're gonna paint the car. So, I put some putty or some Bondo over the spots where there were very bad flaws that we're gonna show in paint, and I believe that's why the hood was under its roll-on primer that was on it, or bed liner, or whatever it was that they put on this thing. And we're trying to clean it up to where it's at least 3% presentable. I can see me getting a factory hood for this. Not today though. So, Bondo's on. The way I like to do it, take 80 grit, shape it, get it shaved down. Then go back over it, smooth it all out, get the sand scratches out as much as you can. Then lay primer, block it. I usually block with 320, just how I do it. So that's what we're gonna do. You'll see, like when I do any sort of body filler, I gotta do it by hand. I'm no good at shaving it down with like a DA or anything like that. It always ends up looking like my body in a tight shirt, just lumpy and not impressive. So I guess we'll go to that. It's gonna be a time lapse of me hating my life and sanding Bondo with a block that looks like you're supposed to use on drywall and some 80 grit. This is fun. See you guys at the next checkup. Got the hood ready for primer. Super pumped about that. Figured that was where most of my annoying little bodywork things were going to be. I knew I'd have a little bit on the back side of the fenders and the doors. Nothing crazy. Then I moved back to this door. This door is smoked. I mean, I'm pretty sure this thing was used at a safari park and a rhino was pissed and wanted the food. Something hit it right here and then hit it here, and here. There's no way I can paint this door like this. It will look terrible. This will look awful. What you should do here is probably get a new door. The problem with that is money. I can't get a new door. But what I do have is a bunch of Bondo and some sandpaper from Taiwan. And I'm going to use those to make it look less crappy. Is it going to look good? No, not at all. Is it going to look better? I hope. So, here we go. Another 2 extra hours are going to go invested into the door, and then I'm going to move to the quarter, and I'm sure I'll find some really cool stuff there. And then all around the car. And then I'll end up being up till 4 o'clock in the morning tonight spraying the screen so I can release a video tomorrow. And then tomorrow I will be sleep deprived because I wake up at 5:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning. But it's okay because this genius little company called Monster Energy, if you just if you slam 7 of those after stuff like this happens, then the next day you can function correctly, or just it like puts your body on AI autopilot. And that is definitely where we're going to be ending up after today. So I'll check in with you again. I don't want to keep doing these time lapses. I want to explain what I'm doing, show you the product, move on. If I put all the time lapses in this video, it would be 4 hours long, and nobody would want to watch that. We're trying to keep them to 30. I'm rambling. I'm upset. This door is smoked. This feels like bacon. This had to have been a drift car. It was probably sick on fat tires in the back and little tires up front, doing 100-mile-an-hour entries with a stock 305 and smacking into the wall for the crowd. So, I love doing this, and I'll be back. Update. The door. It's just about done. We are to the point where we have laid the last coat here of mud. You can't see a whole lot of it. It's more down here. It's not rust. It's more like a train hit it right here. And then the back of the train came up and whiplashed it right there. You know what I mean? So we had to fix all of that. It's not perfect, but it's better than what was going on there before. Luckily, a buddy of mine came over, Noah, and he basically scuffed up from the rear all the way over on the other side. So I got to lay a little bit of mud in stupid spots over there where we had like paint chips, scratches, dings, just stupid stuff. But none of it is going to take long to finish up. We probably got another half an hour of sanding little stuff here and there. And then we are ready to clean this place up and tape. Then we're shooting primer. This whole car needs to go under primer. And it's gonna. That's just how it's gonna roll. So, yeah. What I'll probably do is I'll make up this awesome fib about how much fun this is and try to talk my kids and my wife into coming out and helping me tape this thing, because I'm burnt out. I've been out here for 12, 13 hours now, and we're not even close to done, and I'm just getting tired. I'd imagine that probably comes with being fatty like I am. You know what I mean? I'm a little tubby. So my heart's in there like, buddy, quit sanding. I need a pizza. You know what I mean? I gotta... There's the air compressor. Okay, we'll see you when it's taped up. I'm not talking over the air compressor. That air compressor got emphysema. That thing can't keep up with the PA. Here I go, on a spree again, yelling about stuff. Alright guys, it is the following morning. Now, I know that I said, we're painting this car tonight. And I fully was ready to do that. Unfortunately, when the sun went down, the bugs came out. As you can see in my little 20 by 20 garage here, I have some very bright lights. Bugs are attracted to bright lights, and I didn't really think that over. At one point, the bugs were in here. It was like if you took a Peterbilt with a candy paint job and pulled into a truck stop. The lot lizards just jump out big-eyed trying to make that money. Well, this was the candy paint job Peterbilt, and the bugs were the lot lizards. There was no way I could have painted it. This thing literally would have looked like carpet. So, I spent a couple hours last night fixing things that I was willing to let go in the name of getting the paint job done. So what we're going to do is wipe this old girl down, get to spraying some primer, and hopefully we'll have this paint done in the next 2 minutes on this video in the next 6 hours of my life. So, let's go! It's time. It's time. So we're gonna rip some primer on this turd. Don't really have the engine bay looking real good. That's because I plan to come in here and paint the engine bay black after we fix some things that other people have done. You can see there's some sheet metal pop riveted in there and stuff of that nature. I don't like that. So, and I think honestly, in the end, I plan to put a vinyl top on this car, and I think under the engine being like a gloss black or whatever, or a matte black, will look good. Just kind of the contrast there. Just, chill out. So, we wiped it all down. There's more stuff on it. But we wiped it all down with wax and grease remover. I had some left over from the poppies that I did. Car's all wiped down. We'll tack rag it now and spray some primer on this thing. Yeah. After the primer, we go to color, and then we go to the clear. I'm actually using the Summit urethane deal. It's actually a base coat, or not a base coat, sorry. It's actually a single stage paint, so you don't even have to spray clear on it. It'll still shine. It'll look good. I'm just going the extra mile and throwing some cheap clear on it just to see if it makes it look any better. Yeah, so I'd imagine you guys will get into a time lapse now of me. You know, I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't know how to spray a car. I'm not pretending like I know how to spray a car. I am a spray paint legend. This is not spray paint. I got some cheap Temu paint guns. And just stuff like that. I mean, this is the same thing that any one of you guys can do at home. I'm using a $100 air compressor that thing's got asthma. It can't keep up. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you can get the stuff on and get it to be all the right color, get some clear on it, you can wet sand anything down and make it look presentable. And that's what we're going for. We just want presentable. We're not looking for show car. This thing's going to have its flaws. That's just how it rolls. This car is going to get driven. It's probably going to do donuts, see ditch drops, you know, stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be perfect. A perfect car, they're awesome, but they kind of suck too. You get scared to drive them. You don't want to get chips in it. You don't want to get bugs all over them. You don't want to mess up something with a paint job that costs $10,000. So every rose has its thorn. This may not turn out to look as good as what you'd see professionally, but at the same time, you can repaint this once a year for $350. I mean, you get a chip, repaint the whole car. You don't like the way it looks on the front, repaint the whole car. It's $350. If you really put it into perspective, you could paint this roughly, I don't know, 285 times before it actually starts to get outrageously expensive. So, I'm rambling. Let's get to spraying. We're ready for debatably the coolest part of any paint job. You see all the things I did wrong with the primer? I don't care. Fight me. Getting ready to spray. I'm kind of high. 20 by 20. Fumes. Lungs. Head. Gone. See ya. Watch. Talk to you later. All right, just like that, we're kind of done spraying paint. So here's the takeaways from it. The paint was easy to use. Unfortunately, my skills are pretty bad, so we got some blotchiness in it. I probably would have fared better with not using metallic color, especially with cheap Chinese guns. They tend to spit and sputter. They're real finicky. It's all right. If anything, it's my fault. But it's the color. It looks better than it did. You know, we started this video with this thing looking like a pale turtle with a Scooby-Doo tramp stamp, and we just wanted to get away from that, and we have. And here it is. I mean, can't really be too mad. We're in a 20 by 20 garage with a bad air compressor and some crappy guns with some paint that's $350. So I would say that the outcome here is exactly as one would think with that kind of product. And that'll be the end of this video. The next one that we have with the Nova, it'll be cutting, buffing, trying to get the paint looking as good as possible. We gotta restore some trim, and we're gonna lay the motor in this thing. Well, put it together and slam it down in there. Try to get this thing a little bit closer to running and driving. But I think before we do another video on the Nova, we're gonna come back and do the wagon again. And since I was late posting this week, I'm gonna release another video this week of the wagon. I'm gonna build the charge pipe, see if it makes boost, probably blow it up, cool stuff like that. So big thanks to my buddies that came over. Noah and James both helped me out a bunch. My wife helped me tape this off. That's a thing with something like this. Like, you can't expect perfection. There's always going to be someone that can do it better than you. Like, you could probably paint this car better than me. But, you know, you can't expect it to look like a professional paint job. That's not how it's going to work. At the end of the day, though, I can say that I spent hardly any money, and I got to hang out with my friends and my family and paint this here car and make it look better than it did, you know, 2 days previous. So that's the kind of stuff that you remember for the rest of your life. You know, every time I see this car, I'll know that me, my buddies, and my family painted that car. Does it look like we painted it? Yeah, yeah, it's sick. But that's what makes hot rods cool, man. That's what makes them cool. I'm sure this thing will end up getting another paint job at some point in time, but the way it sits right now, the car needs new quarters hung on it. These are good quarters, but they were hung wrong. I want a vinyl top on it. And the doors, they gotta go. They're junk. So you see where I'm going. This was just kind of a, it's like if you're on your airplane and you have a layover. This is the layover version of this car. This is just making it to where it looks better than it did. And it doesn't look like the same Scooby-Doo tramp stamp car that's been sitting in a field for who knows how long. But anywho, I'm rambling. I'll see you guys in a couple days with a new video on the wagon. I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks.